Hello there, welcome to another tutorial on strategies, tactics, and techniques, tips for MMA. My name is Rich Alton, and today's video tutorial is going to cover the common MMA clinching techniques that are used in the octagon as primarily either an offense or as a defense. Now you're probably wondering, what other MMA techniques, can give you, from a defensive perspective, an advantage to avoiding any kind of grappling or any type of clinching attempts in here. And this is the video that I want to share with you that's going to cover most of that. Now today in this video we're going to basically be covering and just the upright version here, but these tactics and concepts in here also can work on the ground as well, and then that's for another video in the future in here. Now keep in mind in here that this video may be extensively long because it has a lot of information that goes into the whole grappling industry and how to apply it in an MMA situation as opposed to just a wrestling or a jiu-jitsu tournament and stuff. And so just bear with the longer extended the video in here. But hopefully you'll find this video very informative in here, and this maybe will help you institute some of these ideas in your training. All right. Now before we actually get into the actual today's topic on the how to avoid any kind of clinching attempts in here, what I want to first do is define what grappling is and what it is not. Okay, because grappling, kind of in the MMA industry, has a lot of things that are mixed in with it that aren't essentially that go with grappling, but aren't necessarily have to be a part of grappling. What this means is that grappling is one of the 8 ways of attack. Okay, grappling is defined as any attempt to put somebody in some kind of control or hold or lock or strangulation of some kind, or breaking something. So it could be a choke, it could be a bear hug, it could be an arm bar of some kind in here, or it could just be grabbing a person by the shirt, or it could be, by the throat, or, it could be just grabbing you by the finger. But grappling is defined as any attempt to try to make contact and control with you. Okay, so if he's just standing in this fighting stance in here, right, and if I just grab him by the wrist, technically this is grappling. I've made contact. Okay, in order for me to maintain control, I have to make contact in here. Or it could be as much as I come up here and I get him in some kind of a headlock in here like this. Okay, or it could be as much as even more if I come in and try to, get him in some kind of takedown in here like this. So that really is a very cut and dry definition of grappling. What grappling is not, is grappling doesn't have to have any kind of balance attack factors in it. So balance attack is anything you do to disrupt your opponent's support structure. So again, a balance attack would be somebody using this fighting stance in here. I just went like that. Technically, that's a balance attack, but I didn't have to grapple with him. I didn't have to control him for an X period of time. But most of the time, balance attacks usually come with grappling, because in MMA, one of the objectives is to collide with somebody in here, right? So if I come in and grab him here like this in a clinch, and then it's to try to manipulate him off balance and try to drive him into the ground where I can, take away his mobility and then hopefully finish him off. Okay, so what we want to do to make these principles, these clinching defensive principles, simpler in here, so it doesn't get so complex, because grappling is a very complex section. It's probably one of the most complex sections in combat, is we want to kind of eliminate the balance part out of it, even though it might happen in here. We're going to definitely prepare for it. But grappling does not have to integrate a balance attack. So I just want to set that clear up front. So now that I've talked about kind of what a basic definition of grappling is, without all the specific moves, because there's thousands and thousands of moves, okay, let's go ahead now. I want to talk about the various types of clinches that often are used in MMA. Okay, let's go ahead and define the 3 types of basic clinches that you could find yourself in. It's very popular to use in MMA. The first one that's very common and usually is used as the defense is the double underhook position. Okay, so for everybody here who's watching this video, I'm assuming I'm assuming that you already study MMA or practice in MMA. So I'm not going to get into all the details about the underhook. I'm just going to kind of just run through them real quick. So the underhook position is basically where my arms, he's in a fighting stance. I'm under his armpits in here like this. I've basically got my forearms and biceps in here, right? Under this in here like this. And and he's basically over my arms. Okay, and usually what happens is that because I'm used to doing this in here because he's trying to drop underneath me, right? He's trying to get down in here, right? Go ahead and get into a clinch down like this, and I'm trying to get my arms underneath here in order to keep his upper body mass, kind of away from me in here like this, and to keep my hips away. Okay, so very common clinch in using mixed martial arts, and it has some advantages and it has quite a few disadvantages. Okay, the other common clinch is the overhook position, which is exactly the opposite. So that would mean that he's underhooked under me, okay, and I'm overhooked under him like this. And it could be where I got one arm over here, maybe I kind of got him in somewhat of a body lock type thing, but I'm under here like this, and I'm kind of pulling down here. Again, there are a lot of advantages and disadvantages to these types of clinches, but this is a very common one like this. And I can kind of grab his arms and I can kind of pull my hips away in here like this. It allows me to access other techniques in here that the underhook position may not give me. Okay, the third one is what we call is called the Thai Plum clinch, right? Where I interlock my hands in here like this, and basically I'm pinching my elbows together, and I'm pulling this guy's head down in here. And what this obviously allows you guys to do, who do this all the time, is to deliver a lot of knee strikes that are common in Muay Thai. Sometimes is to pull your arm out and try to do an elbow strike in here, like so. Okay, so all three of these types of clinches have a different look to them, and they offer a lot of advantages and disadvantages. Okay, but again, I'm not going to get into all the advantages and disadvantages in each one of those things. So I'm going to get into the principles, the common principles that cause people to get obviously into a clinching situation that they probably could have avoided. Okay, the last clinch that we're going to cover, and this is going to be the highlight of today's video, is what I teach called a shield clinch. And a shield clinch is slightly different in nature because it focuses more on counter grappling and setting up the ability to stop the clinch or stop the tackling before it happens. And if it does happen and we do get into a clinch, what we're trying to do is put our body into a position where we minimize how much we're entangled and maximize how much space we have so we can escape and deliver a hit. Right? Often a lot of the disadvantages to the MMA clinches is it minimizes how much a person can escape, and it minimizes how much a person can cause damage. Either because they're already off balance before the clinch already happened in here, right? So what that means is that he comes in and takes me down in here, tackles me in here, and I'm already off balance like this. And so as he pulls his body mass in here like this, I can't really get my body into one of these positions that I named already because I'm already off balance and his momentum is driving me in one direction. Okay, that's very common, right? And the other thing that happens is before the clinch happens. Okay, what happens is that the person doesn't have any effective striking or any kind of barrier coming in. Okay, so the guy comes in here, and he's out of position trying to throw punches, and the guy just ducks underneath him in here like this. Okay, so a lot of positional issues before the clinch actually gets initiated, or a lot of positional issues when the guy is already in the clinch in here that he can't create any kind of separation. So the shield clinch provides both a kind of a platform to create a barrier and also to create a kind of a frame that you can operate once you're in a clinch in here. So a lot of times what's going to happen, basically a shield clinch, as he comes in here, it's going to drive in here like this, starting from kind of a ramming shield type concept in here. And then what's going to happen is that we want to try to create some kind of a barrier where we minimize how much of his arms and shoulders can get in. Remember, grappling, the only way grappling can actually be effective is unification of body mass. Once he hugs onto me here and my hips become a part of his, two people cannot occupy the same space at once. Right? Now it's a matter of learning, a matter of trying to, wrestle this guy to death with a lot of strength in here, and that's something we want to avoid, particularly in MMA when you're tired. Okay, so what the shield clinch does is here, come in again here. You know, whether you know is to get some kind of a barrier in here like this and cause damage on the way in. That's a big key, is to cause damage on the way in. All right. And even if I don't hurt the guy or knock him out from here, at least his biocomputer is momentarily disrupted for a moment, and he's got to pay attention or avoid this in here, as this creates a shockwave into his upper extremities in here like this. And so what happens is he, go ahead and clinch me a little bit, as I got this in here like this, and I get my body in the right spot, I need to kind of obviously monitor his arms and watch his legs in here, but this allows me to get into a better position in here, right, to deliver a technique and to put myself in a position to escape in here. That's ultimately what this video is about, is trying to stop or defend against the clinch so I don't get taken down. Okay, so let's go ahead now that I've kind of talked about the various types of clinches. Let's talk about the common principles that have to be applied to avoid any grappling, a collision, or any kind of takedown. Okay, now that I've talked about the common MMA clinches that you often practice or are very popular, and I want to go ahead and talk about the common principles that need to be applied that are often overlooked to avoid any grappling or any clinch exchange. The first principle is not maintaining your mobility. Okay? Now what this means is, that you need to be as mobile as possible, or at least perceptually aware of your surroundings before any type of clinching exchange is going to be made. Right, so obviously in the octagon in here, you know, if you find yourself up against the fence in here like this, and you only got, you know, a foot or so before your foot goes into the fence in here like that, and this person hasn't done anything to you, you should be moving in here, right? So let's just imagine if he's in a stance in here, back up a little bit, back up a little more, that I'm here like this, right? And here's the fence behind me, and he's going to take me down, but he hasn't yet, and I'm just standing here waiting to see what he does. Okay, I'm not mobile at all. So if you're trying to avoid a grappler and you know your opponent's a grappler, or, okay, why the heck are you standing here against this fence? You should be moving. You should be moving laterally or something. So if we're just standing here, don't take me down yet, but I should be moving in here like this. So you should be either threatening with your punches or throw a punch and then step off line, even if you're not trying to hit him, but trying to probe him or something like that to keep a barrier between you and I. But you shouldn't be just standing here like this, kind of waiting to see what the guy does and get into exchange in here. Often you'll see fighters in here that the guy, if he's going to take me down, just decides to rush in, and then here we are. Then all of a sudden now I'm bent up against the fence. I can't get my hips back in here, and you'll see this for 5-minute rounds. I sit there trying to, this guy's just doing whatever he can to, you know, get my leg in here. He's changing. I'm trying to figure out how to, okay, now I got to figure out how to get out of this clinch and reverse him around, when I could avoid the whole situation by being mobile, by just moving in the first place. So not being aware of your surroundings, okay, and not being mobile before any grappling attempt is one of the first common mistakes. Even if the person does get a hold of me, so let's say he comes in, all right, go ahead, comes in here and grabs a hold of me. The moment he grabs a hold of me or starts to grab a hold of me and I feel this, okay, what I need to be doing here, just kind of drive into me a little bit, is I should be moving in here. I should be starting to move my body offline, or in a way to where it makes it much harder for him to lock down on me. And he may get that lockdown or he may not. But don't give this person a standing target when he comes in and I go boom, I'm up against the fence and I'm like, oh, okay, now I got to get stable and now I got to move in here when you should have been moving in the first place. So however he clinches in here, right? You know, grab me upper body in here, right? Even if he grabs me like this, let's say I'm way out of position, is that you should be trying to move immediately and get yourself into a better position where you can return, you know, fire or cause damage. Okay, so not being mobile. The second common principle that often causes grappling is, I'm laughing because I see it so much, is once the clinch is happened, okay, what you'll see is, so go ahead and grab me a little bit, is you'll see a fighter trying to prolong the grappling. In other words, he tries to get more entangled with the guy and get into some of these funky positions, like trying to use a Kimura defense in here, or trying to get some body lock in here like this, right? And what's happening, I call entanglement, is like he's tying himself into a knot too much. Okay, so you're trying to avoid grappling. Why are you trying to get entangled with him more? Okay, what I mean is get your arms in a position where now maybe you're holding on for dear life, but then you have to untangle a lot more in order to escape or hit. So you got to remember, grappling defenses by themselves usually don't offer immediate counterattacks, especially striking counterattacks. What they usually offer is, okay, now I got the underhooks in here, but I'm still entangled, right? Because I just don't have the strength, or he's got a huge body in here, I just can't get my arms around him. Okay, so I'm here, okay? But I still can't get out. Okay, and as he keeps trying to work into a tighter position in here, I'm starting to lose it here like this, and I'm forced to go down because I don't have the leverage from that position in the first place, right? So getting extended time frame and entanglement. Remember, the goal is, if you're trying to escape grappling or a clinch, is to minimize how much you entangle with the person. Okay, so if he's in a fighting stance in here and he comes in on me here like this, right? I should be delivering a shot in here like this. That's what should be really happening. Okay, bam, is a drive, a shield into this guy's face in here. And even if he still grabs me tight, right? Even if he grabs me tight, because I don't want to go, oh, okay, I think I'll accept the grappling more now, and we'll just get more entangled because you want to work your favorite move that you learn in your dojo, or grappling is very familiar with you, so you're just like, heck, we're in a clinching situation, so now my perception is to grapple now. Okay? So the third principle is, so second one is extended time frame and entanglement. The third mistake and principle that usually gets violated is kind of an extension from there, is your grappling is too familiar with you. So when you practice these drills, and here, clinch with me, right? And you're up against the fence in here like this, right? You're so familiar with, oh, okay, we're up against the fence in training, or the wall, or ring, whatever you train in. And so now that he's grappling me, I guess I got to grapple back and only grapple back. In other words, the fighter's thought process gets lost. Like the end result that was set in stone up front is gone. The end result should be to end the fight, to get out of this, okay, is to get to the hit and cause damage. Is not to go, okay, just because he wants to grapple, let's get him a grappling contest. It's like trading move for move. It's kind of like, he throws a kick and kicks me, so I'll kick him back because I think I got a better kick, right? That's fighting from a move-oriented thinking, right? Or a lot of grapplers, when they go down on the ground, they pull their guard, they pull a guy right to their guard because it's so familiar. When that might not be the right option to do. Okay, so trying to accept the grappling too much and to stay there and go, well, I think I want to work this move now because that's what we learned. Okay, when the goal should be is, I may have to counter grapple back. I may be entangled longer than I want, but my thought process is I want to get the heck out of here. I want to end the fight ASAP. So you should be bringing all your tools, all your skill sets, even to a clinching situation, even if it's for a second. So if I'm in here like this and he gets me here and I haven't gone down, I should be trying to figure out what can I do to cause him damage or destruction as soon as possible to make him think, uh-oh, I better let go. Okay, it's not to sit here and try to lock on and jump on his back and do all these things. You see him doing stuff like this and nothing's happening in here. It's too passive. It's too passive, and a lot of times they're not in the right position in the first place to even deliver that kind of leverage. You don't really see a lot of knockouts or damage coming from clinches in here because they're not in the right spot. Okay? What needs to be happening is stay there. It's you need to be getting into a position here, right, to cause damage for something like that. So I need to act very fast. And the only way for me to do that is I got to have techniques and tactics and strategies wired to me ahead of time so I just know how to react when those clinching attempts happen. Okay? All right. Now the last principle is that is very, very common that causes grappling problems is overcommitment on strikes and poor striking selection. This is very common. Okay, so we're out here like this, and I want to tear this guy's head off so bad that I decided to throw an artless haymaker or something, and he just ducks underneath and comes in, right, and tackles me in here, and I put myself right into the clinch right here because I'm so out of position, right? So let me reiterate that again. So we're out here, we're fighting in here like this, and I'm like, man, I want to tear this guy's head off. So I pick a technique that I feel has got a lot of power, and my perception is off again, and I don't even think about my positioning. Right? I'm fighting a grappler, he's already taken me down 4 or 5 times in a match or the round, and I'm like, okay, the next time I'm going to do something real stupid. Right? You're going to see fighters, you'll take me down, and they'll try to come and do a flying knee in here like this, and he gets taken down. Well, why would you pick a technique like that that has very small chance of causing damage? Right? You're completely out of position in the first place, and you just basically just help the guy get you down or got you into that clinch. So poor striking selection and being out of position when a fighter throws a technique is the final principle that causes all clinching and grappling techniques to happen on you. Okay, now that I've gone through the common principles that usually are committed, that should not be, to avoid any clinch or any grappling exchange, and let's go ahead and get into the focus of the type of clinch that I want to kind of share with everybody that could help you drastically with your overall grappling, close range, and MMA skill sets and fighting game. And that is called the Shield Clinch. Now, whether I get into whatever clinch you end up in, okay, of some kind of one of those underhook, overhook, Thai Plum, whatever it is. I mean, I can be bent over like this and the guy's grabbing me in here, right? The bottom line is that you want to create a barrier and create damage and destruction as much as possible. You want to do that, you want to set that mindset right up front. Okay, so for me, when I spar, full contact sparring with MMA fighters or whoever, or if I'm teaching a student, when they learn grappling defense and counter grappling, what is instilled in their mind is to don't grapple unless you absolutely have to. Okay? So this doesn't mean that this does not mean that you don't learn grappling. You obviously have a skill set, you need to learn that at school. It's like having a tool in a toolbox. You need to learn how to use a hammer, screwdriver, saw, etc. But what this means is the mindset is when a person attempts to clinch with me is that I'm going to cause them as much damage as possible. And that term what I'm talking about is what we call the pre-lock versus the lock. Okay, so remember what I was telling you earlier about extended time from entanglement, accepting the grappling too much. Okay, so what this means is, here, get your fighting stance, right? I'm just going to demonstrate this with my wrist first, or just a wrist grab, wrist control, then we'll talk about the clinch. If he reaches down and grabs my wrist, okay, and locks down tight, that is the lock position. If I can't get out of this thing in here, and I got to be moving around and trying to do all these moves to get out and break his wrist, that is called the lock position. Okay? Now, if he comes in and clinches with me and gets a nice body lock on me here like this, and I just can't push him off or whatever, that's a lock position. This is a more extreme scenario. Or let's say that he comes down here and gets this leg, right? Grab my leg in here, right? Comes here like this and really locks down in here, right? And lifts me off the ground a little bit like this. This is the lock position. Okay, so it's the same principle, just in different variations. A wrist, a body, a leg. What we want to do is we want to instill in your mindset is to stop any clinch in the pre-lock position and think about causing him damage. Okay, so let's go back to the wrist again. I'm in here, my fighting stance, he tries to grab my wrist, right? And I pull my hand out of there as he starts to grab. So as he grabs slow, even if he starts to grab and I go whomp, and I pull my hand out like that, that is not the lock position. That is the pre-lock position. Right? It doesn't matter where my arm is on here. He goes ahead and grabs me in here, right? And I pull his arm on, grab my hand. Right? Grab it harder. Right? In here. Right? Now if he tries to clinch with me in here, clinch with me. Okay? All right, clinch with me. All right. I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm going to try to keep a barrier or ram something in between him and I, and hopefully break his collarbone or break his face wide open as this happens. And this is what the shield clinch does. Okay, so a shield, in short, is defined as a offensive or defensive barrier that can protect your vital targets from a punch or a charging or grappling attack, provide a barrier in close range, all right, as well as create a kind of a weapon on the way in. So if you can think of it like an elbow, except there's more to it than just trying to hit him with an elbow. Okay, so the pre-lock is something that you want to start instilling in your mind. Okay, now there's different ways I can stop it in a clinch and a pre-lock. The shield, it would be the simplest. Okay, because it provides more of a barrier as far as your whole body. So what this means is he comes in very slow in here. As I drive this thing in, bam, in here like this. It doesn't mean, it can be any side in here like this, whomp in here, okay? The advantage in here, come this way a little bit. The advantage here like this is I got my whole body in a stable position on the point of impact. You got to get your body stable, so you can't be in here like this. Okay, so get my whole body stable and meet him head on, right? Like that. It could be two arms, or one arm in here. Okay, so off, see how he's got his head off to the side to avoid that. What if he came in straight in on me like this, boom, in here, and took it right in the face like this? I mean, that would snap his head right off in here. He'd be pretty much done. And again, I got this barrier in here like this. I'm causing damage on the way in. I got this wedge in between me. If I get this tricep bone, from my elbow to my shoulder in a strong position, it's very hard for him to collapse on me. And as long as I have the energy going with it, he keeps trying to go underneath me and stuff in here, right? Again, I should be moving in here like this. And as long as my striking is effective, so you have to have very good positional striking, which is something else that MMA just disregards. Positional, effective striking. So the shield clinch allows me to, again, create a barrier on the way in, hopefully cause damage, and then if I'm not effective with dropping him right there, so clinch me again, right, boom, in here like this. If I'm not effective, he's still clinching with me, it puts me in a position to create space. My hips are pulled back. I got this in here. So the only thing he really can grab is my leg. Now, if we're in an upright scenario, the same thing. Grab me up here taller in here, right? This thing is in here like this, right? So what I'm doing is I'm locking down on the side of his body in here. So I'm either going to clamp his arm somehow or clamp his arm. I'm going to minimize how much I clamp it. So the control is minimum. I'm only grabbing him just enough, right? So I can deliver, a technique in here like this, and then try to escape, right? So the shield clinch, again, is a type of clinch that's about destruction and minimizing time frame and entanglement. And that's something we want to focus in here as we go through this video. Okay, so let's go ahead now and go into some more of the detailed principles of how to kind of get into a shield clinch, and once we're there, kind of how to put our body in stable position so you can start to set up your arsenal to strike and escape. Okay, I've kind of dove into some of the essence of the shield clinch in here. So I'm going to briefly discuss very quickly here several different ways that you can stop a clinch in the pre-lock position. Okay, the first one being is the ram shield. Okay, which essentially is whether it's high gate or mid gate in here, right, or coming down lower, is to drive one or both. So coming slow in here is to drive one arm or both, into this guy's upper extremities. I want to aim for his face in here. So I'm creating a very strong, back up a little bit, a strong bar, a strong, nice right angle as he comes in here, whomp in here like this. And I'm putting my body in a very strong position on the point of impact. So so I explained a little bit ago the advantage of it, even though I'm getting closer, even though we are closer to maybe clinch, which is a disadvantage, the major advantages of this is that I'm protecting myself on the way in and I'm causing damage, right? I'm meeting him force on force. So if he comes at me here again, and I do this quick in here like this, all right? Can't do this fast with no gear on. You'll really mess somebody up. I'm telling you, I've done it from experience. You can really hurt a person and break their neck, strain their neck, break something on their face. It doesn't take much. So that's one of the ways you can stop somebody from clinching with you. The other advantage up to the ram shield entry is what if he's a fighter who wants to clinch with me, but he throws a technique. Let's say he throws a punch to hide behind the grappling. Okay, so meaning that. So back up a little bit more. All right. So he throws a punch at me in here, right in here, and I drive this thing in. Okay. All right. So throw your left arm so they can see a little bit, right in here. Whop in here like this, and I drive in here and I slam my arm into his punch, and also into his body. Right. So if he picks that, so back up a little more, so slower up like that haymaker hook in here, boom, and I drive in like this. Okay, this is really going to mess him up in here, and it also protects my face. So I'm hidden behind my arms, bam. Okay, so I've kind of created some upper body disconnection. Remember, you got to separate the shoulders, the upper body out in here. He can have my leg, he just can't pull my hips in. All right, so I got this arm. Here, back up again. So again, do that slow in here, right? Boom in here like this, and one's going into his throat, face area, or any big piece of body mass. Right, in here, so let's kind of see it from this angle. Do it again, right? Boom, big piece of body mass I can get, and one of them's kind of going into his bicep in here. Let's say he throws a straight left, back up a little more, throws a straight left cross. Boom, right, I can drive in here and drive this in here like this. Okay, do that again slow, right? As I smash in here, okay, and this may glance off, or slide over here like this, or maybe slip through a little bit here, but the point is, again, we're doing this slow, we're not doing this fast, is to damage that weapon on the way in as he keeps trying to take me down, right, in here, and eventually shift the shield into a position where I can stop the grappling. Okay? So as I ram the shield in, I have to use my energy senses, my energy grappling to kind of determine, from that initial throw that straight punch again, right? Boom! And he keeps coming. Do I need to shift this down? Do I need to shift this shield over immediately? Do I need to grab this arm? What do I need to do? Oftentimes you're going to grab an arm or lock down on one side of his body while you still got this barrier in between you and I, right? So if we switch sides, let's see it from this angle in here. Okay, so throw that punch in here. Boom! In here like this, and he comes forward, bam, I drop this down in here, and I either clinch in here like this. Now it could be I might have to switch on this side in here, okay, but the point is that I got this wedge in between him and I. And again, my thought process, I'm just trying to hold on for a second, right, to where I can get a good hit in here like this. Okay, so here, come back over here. So the ram shield is on the way in, on the point of entry, is one of the easier ways to kind of protect your whole body, protect your vitals, and cause damage on the way in and kind of stop that initial collision. The other way that you can do it, and this is getting a little harder, is I can stop the clinching attempt with what's called a wedge, basically a stiff arm, right? So what that means is he comes down tackle me in here, right? And I drive something out. I'll go ahead and do it again in here, right? Comes something out, go ahead and tackle me. Right? Drive something in here like this and put a pole, come down here, put a pole in between him and I like this. And as I lock this thing out, do it again slow in here, right? Boom. As I lock this thing out, I gotta lock it out. I can get into a good position here to deliver a technique. Hard to do because it takes it's like taking a pool cue and trying to drive it into a small area here. So a lot more timing involved. And what I want to do with that, again, I want to be mobile, I want to step off line with it. So as he comes in here, right, boom, I want to step off line and then immediately follow a counterattack. So the advantage of this, if you can time it right, I can put myself right at the end of a hard punch in here. It's not going to work when he's in here like this. This is why you got to use the shield. Okay? All right, the third one is I can intercept him with a straight punch of some kind. Okay, so meaning what that means is often you're going to pick a closest weapon and closest target. So I like to use my jab, but I'm going to aim at a big piece of his body mass, his throat, preferably in here, because that way, if he comes in, turns his head off, and tackles and turns his head offline, right? If I aim up here, I'm going to slide off. But if I aim right here, so come back up right again, do that again, right? Boom, in here like this. Again, you have to time it. So it's kind of like the wedge. I can really screw him up by shoving my fist in here like this, right? Not the easiest thing to do, you know, when a guy changes levels real fast like that. But it is an option to do. The advantage is I can hit him from further away, like the wedge, okay? And I can escape. The disadvantage is it takes a lot of timing. So that's why I prefer kind of using the ram shield, at least to start out to teach. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get into, once we've got into the ram shield and we've got into the clinch, let's go ahead and talk about how we position yourself in the shield clinch for maximum power and maximum you know, options for technique. All right, now let's go ahead and get into the actual shield clinch when we've already got, the pre-lock problem has been kind of addressed, but quite hasn't solved the problem. So keep in mind, there still might be a pre-lock going on in here. It all just depends on how the initial collision happens in here, you know, how much of a lockdown he has on you, okay? So we're going to say now that you're already in the clinch, you're going to have to kind of accept the clinch temporarily. But the still principles apply to get out of this thing. A, stay mobile. B, minimize time frame and entanglement. Okay. 3, do not just stand there and accept the grappling. If you can get out, get out. Okay. And 4, make sure that when you do get out, that you try to cause damage as much as possible. And have a good striking selection here. Now I'm going to recommend and suggest that you practice being your whatever techniques that you know of and maybe pick up from this video once you're in the clinch, that you practice the actual effective force delivery, the speed and power and the trajectory, like on a bag or some close range training tool that you can use in here. Because doing them here in this video, this has nothing to do with if causing damage. Obviously, we don't have equipment on. I'm not hitting the training partner in the face. But I've done this many times. I know what it can do. But keep in mind, you want to separate that skill set out. On bags, as and any other training object you can get. You can have a focus mitt. Someone can hold like a focus mitt like to the side in here, and you can practice kind of being this close to it in here and delivering close range techniques. You want to be able to hit in close range very effectively, because it's going to change when you're tired and you have gloves on. Okay, so practice your positional striking, hitting in all kinds of different positions, all right, and angles in here as much as you possibly can. Okay, and try to integrate that somehow into your sparring safely. Okay, so and I'm going to show this from various angles in here, so hopefully the camera can pick this up. So once we're in the clinch, right, we came through in the ram shield. We're going to do this upright first. He comes in to clinch with me. I ram this thing in here. Okay, now two things can happen. I can put it on this side. If he puts his head over here, it's coming this way. But I like to have the arm that's doing the monitoring the upper body. I like to have that forward with my lead leg forward in here if I can enter. Okay, now if I end up going like this, which I have to be able to do too, it kind of twists my pelvis up a little bit, but I have to learn how to work through that. But preferably, I like to start out, okay, by keeping this thing here. Okay, just kind of go ahead and grab me right here. So we're here like this. All right, so what I need to do is I need to form this right angle, and I need to kind of put this bone right in his collarbone, or any piece of body mass I get. The more upright he is, come upright more, upright, look up more. The more he's up like this, the more I can shove it into his throat in here, but it's roughly in the collarbone area. So if we turn this way a little bit, I'm driving it in this direction in here. What I don't want to be doing is I don't want to have it out this way, because if he pulls me in real hard, fast, it's just going to slide off in here like this. Right, or it's going to go up. Okay, so obviously it can't be up here, and I can't have it too low. All right, where if he pull me in hard. Right, see how that just collapsed. And now I have a V position right here. You can see there's a V. Okay, let's get it from this angle. There's a V in here, and I don't have the shoulder strength anymore to do this. I have to get this thing in a nice 90-degree angle like this and drive it in real hard. I have to keep some static pressure in there. Okay, so from here it needs to be shoved in like this. Okay, now if he decides to drop down under my upper gate and go down to my mid gate and go drop straight down, I need to drop with him. I need to form this angle in here like this, and I need to shoot my hips out as I do that. So I need to get my butt sticking back in here, so let's turn this way. I need to turn this way in here like this. I can't be like this, because I won't have any back strength in here. I want to shoot my hips, because that's what he wants, my hips. So if he comes upright again, we go upright, and he comes here like this, and he drops down, I need to drop down with him in here like so. Keeping this pressure into him as much as possible. Okay, so you're going to have to like steer this thing in and feel where you need to do that. And it's hard to kind of see that on camera. You have to kind of be in and experience it, right? Because remember, as he's trying to bear, here, come back up here, upright, grab me again. And right here, like this, and he's trying to grapple me hard for a second. Right, I need to kind of keep going. I need to kind of, get this thing in here like this and find a way to kind of wedge this thing in here. And if I have to kind of, see, now you just change in here, so I felt this getting weak. I have to shift this into in a different position here, shift the shield and shift my body so I can get into a better position of leverage. Because as we grapple, you're going to find if you're slightly behind the game as far as that tactile sensitivity, you're going to have to articulate your pelvis, okay, and be able to flex and extend and bend laterally, and bring this shoulder across in here and angle it up and down, kind of based on what he's doing. So you're going to have to be very kind of like Gumby-like to get that thing in there while maintaining that kind of pressure. Remember, you're only doing this temporarily just so you can cause damage, okay? You're not trying to do this forever, just sit here doing this. This by itself is not, the ram shield by itself and clinching in here is not going to solve your problem. It's just a temporary solution so you can, buy yourself a moment to either, find a technique to cause damage or to escape, okay? So if I show it from, let's go this side. All right, so here's clinch with me here. All right, if I shove it in here, on this angle in here, this is what it looks like from over here. Now my lead leg, again, I got my left side forward, my lead leg is here, okay? Now it could be over here, it doesn't matter, but as long as it's in a strong spot, I want to drive this thing in, I want to kick my pelvis back like this, right? This is shoved in here like this. So if he's more upright, right, it's up in here like so. Okay, so if it's on this side of his body, you can go ahead and kind of neck hook him if you need to, right? Pull him in like this. And you probably will have to do this, but again, you're only doing this temporarily, so you can just kind of pull him in, stabilize your body, and start looking for your techniques in here like this. Okay, boom, in here like that. Okay. Now, if it's on this side of his body, okay, and it's pushing towards his throat, his center of mass, you may not be able to neck hook him in here, but the advantage of being here like this is that I can kind of drive him over that direction. If I got this arm clamped or here, or something like this, or like this in here, it doesn't really matter right this moment, I can drive him over to this direction, which puts him further away. It puts him, let's go this way, it puts him further away from my body, okay? So this is one of the ways that you can kind of get in here and escape. So if I got this driven here, what I recommend to do is as you lower your center of gravity is to step offline like this. Is to shift over here. Okay, let's come more upright again. All right. All right, stay more upright for this. All right. So if I got him over here, I can shift offline. So it puts him further away, puts this arm further away from my body. Make it harder if he tries to throw a punch. If I just kind of reach out and throw a punch. It's hard for him to reach me, right? Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's harder. But if I stand right on the center line like this, okay, as opposed to over here, it makes it much easier. Go ahead and reach me with a punch, right? It makes it much easier to reach, okay? So go back here. So upright again more, all right? So shifting this thing offline like this allows me to kind of pry him away and find a good technique right here. It allows me to put myself into a kind of almost a position to escape. I could ram this thing in multiple times, elbow, if he's more stay upright, right? Right here like this, I can come up into the throat, okay? I can ram into here, right, boom, right? And then, deliver a technique and kind of, push myself away. So whether it's on one side of his body or not, if it's on, again, we're doing, so here, let's turn this way a little bit, it's over here, it's over here. The point is, it's in a shield position with this tricep bone in a very strong position, okay? So if I come over here, I shift offline this way, it's harder for him to reach me with his right hand. And it makes it closer for me to access this side of his body. So when you clamp his arm, you want to clamp and secure one of his arms. Okay, you want to overhook or underhook it. I like to overhook and kind of drive it in here because it's very hard for him to get his arm out of here. I might have to grab at the wrist. It just depends on where his arm is. If his arm's up here, I can't overhook it. I can underhook it, but I'm going to pull his arm down and kind of lock it down with my body, drive the shield in and I'm offline like this. That way I can hit him, right, in very close ranges in here, and it's going to be very hard for him to see it and stop it because he's kind of pushed on this direction in here. And again, we're not kind of like push him away. What we're just trying to do is get that frame in there to hit. Like often you hear a lot of, in jiu-jitsu, on the ground they'll create a frame, all right? Well, this is kind of a similar idea, except for instead of just keeping it there passive where it can be armbarred or locked, we're trying to turn it into a weapon, okay? So the shield arm, so this way here, doesn't just, clinch up right here, doesn't just sit here forever like this. Okay, once we enter in here, right, so clinch again, right, once we here, I can hit, I can drive a shot in here, right, I can deliver a hard shot from here, right, there's a hellacious shot in here like this, right, I can deliver a knee in here, right, I can grab him, if I wanted to grab him with, going to your Thai Plum, you could if you wanted to do something like that, but the point is that once I got this in here, I can work the heck out of his body. It's very hard for him to pull his arm out. Even if he does pull his arm out a little bit, right? Again, I'm forming another barrier in here because guess what? Now we're not grappling. Technically, he's not holding on to me. So if we're in a clinch, okay, head up right more, okay? And he tries to pull his arm out to punch, pull his arm out fast, right? Like this, I'm basically I'm into the shield concept again. And now I can, deliver a technique, and we're not grappling. Okay, and I kind of talked about now what we want to do with the upper body as far as once we're in the shield clinch. Now, let's go ahead and kind of work our way down to the lower part of the body. So, once we're, clinch here, once we're here, okay, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep this chest-to-chest thing away, right? So I don't want to be in like this. I want to be here, out here. All right. The other thing is I want to make sure where my head is. Okay. So before I get quickly into the legs, let me just talk about the head. Your head, you want your head. Let's turn this way, to be looking this direction. You want to be here. You don't want to be buried right in here. And the reason why you don't want it buried like this in here, because if he just sneaks a punch right up the center in here, I'm in trouble. I want to shift it out here. Now what I like to do is when I put my head here, I'd like to take my head, I like to drive it into his a little bit. All right, and I want to make sure that I can kind of see over his arm so I can see his feet in case he tries to hit me with a knee or kick me or something. Okay, I just don't want to be like this. So if I pull in too tight, I lose the barrier and I'm looking over here, I can't see shit now. I want to keep it in here. Okay, so part of this is going to be done by feel. So I'm going to drive it in here like this, and I'm going to drive my head depending on how tall he is. So if he's a little taller, I'm going to drive my head and kind of drive the shield, into his face in here like this. And I'm going to take my front leg and shove it right here like so. I don't want it back in here. I want it right here. That way if he tries to knee me, right, go ahead, knee me, right, I can block him a little bit. All right, and this knee, back up a little bit here, this knee, over here, this knee is right here for me to go boom and come right back. So I don't want my head out here where he can clock me. I want my head in here. Now keep in mind, you might very likely take a hit in a clinch, but I want to make sure, I want to try to minimize that. So I want to lock down here, I want to clinch in here, neck hook if I have to, make him carry my weight, step offline. Get this right leg angled off like this, get this front leg kind of right on center line. So let's turn this way for a second. Get this right leg here right on center line like this. So I'm over here. Now this allows me with my head here to kind of steer him. So if he tries to push into me, I can drop my weight down and steer him as well. Right? So I got the arm in here, the shield, and my head if I need to be. Right? Now, let's come stand back upright. Let's go this direction. So looking at it from another angle, we're here. My head is driven in like so. Now if my head doesn't touch his, that's okay. Right? It just depends on where his head is. But I can kind of use it as a third arm in here. Right? Now if I'm on this side, like we talked about earlier, I don't need to drive my head. I'm halfway out of the clinch in the first place. So I'm here, but I still want to keep my vision monitoring here. I want to keep this leg in close. That way if he tries to kick or knee me, I can check him in here like this, and I can do the same thing to him. And I'm kind of there to trip him, as well. So I'm offline like this. All right? So back on this side here. Now your clamping hand, when you clamp, okay, you can grab his wrist, you can grab under here. The more that he's got, a hinge in here, the better, all right? Now don't try to grab him and try to get all this wrist control and do all this. Remember, the goal is to hit the guy, not to sit here and be out doing this hand fighting stuff. It's to grab in here like this. If I got him clamped in here and I make him carry my weight, okay, I have a nice shovel punch, boom, right here like so, right? I got a nice hook right here, okay? I can basically strike, and reclaim the clinch. Okay? If he pulls this arm out and tries to punch me in the face, pull this arm out. I can grab it again. Right? Do it again. Okay? And grab it somewhere else. Wherever it needs to be. And kind of use my body to help smother it. Okay? So if I'm doing this, and he happens to pull his hand out quick and throw a punch, I can't get my hand back in time. Look at this space right here. I'll never get my hand back in time to grab that. Plus, if he pulls his hand way the heck out of here like this, right, I may not be able to reach it. So I want to make sure that I can kind of monitor this entire limb in here. So whether it's his wrist, here, that's okay. Like so. Something like this. Okay? Again, you're just trying to anchor on. I like to kind of pinch it, hold it here like this, because I can unravel it and throw a short right angle cross, whomp, boom, right here. It could be an elbow, okay? It could be up in here in the liver. It could be here, all right? It doesn't really matter, right? It could be a jab, whatever that is, right? So from the clamping hand in here, you want to kind of anchor it like this. If it's back here, that's fine, okay? All right? So it kind of looks here, all right? Now, if I underhooked him, and I may have to be here, get this up real higher, right? And I hold it here like this. The same thing, I want to kind of anchor down like this. Now, if the camera can pick this up, let's turn this way a little bit. You notice I'm not really trying to hold on higher. I'm just kind of holding on with my body. Let's go back this way. So I basically from here, go this way a little bit. Yeah. So right here, I'm holding on here. Now, if his arm's up really high, I'm going down like this. If his arm's down lower, it's right here. Okay? So if I underhook him like this, one of the advantages of the underhooking position here is that he's kind of blocked for a second, so I can drop down, boom, right? Keep it there, right? Boom, and hit it, grab like this, right? Boom, and hit here like that. I can hit him in the face from here, boom, real hard like that, right? Keeping the shield in here, okay? I can also, if I need to be in here, I can start setting him up for other things. I can start, just to kind of give you an idea, if he's trying to, I can fake like I'm trying to, recapture the underhook as he starts to block, right, in here like this, right, in order to just, come around and give him a, a shot in here like this. So I can use a lot of tricks with that clamping hand, okay? So that's the upper body. Your lower body, let's go this way here, very quickly in here, is to, again, you want to make sure that your base is as wide as it needs to be. So when he starts pushing you around and pulling, so push, grab up here, push and pull me around in here, push hard, right? So I just go with just enough wherever we go in here like this. And I keep this leg closed, push again, right? Here, pull. Then I'm just making myself very heavy like this as I do that. Because remember, you want to keep your legs live. Okay, you just don't want to be up here like this, up against the fence with your legs passive like this. Right? This stuff is not going to do it. I want to keep my legs live in here because you don't know what you need until you see it in here. So if he pulls me forward and my legs switch here, that's okay, as long as I got this position going on in here like this. right? Because I can deliver a strike from there, deliver a strike from here. Let's come back, right? Stand more upright again, right? So we're here, he pushes me backwards, I'm just going back just a little bit, right? Pull me again, move me around. I'm just kind of moving just enough in here because remember, as he's pushing me around, boom, right? He gets hit. Okay, and then we're out of it. All right, so your base of support is basically something that you need to play around with in here in order to kind of find where you can become very heavy, but again, I want to be mobile, right? So again, that mobility principle. I just don't want to stand there as he's pushing and pulling on me, go ahead, and just get into the strength contest. If I feel like we can separate, or he's not ready for a punch because he's so focused on the grappling, right, boom, right, boom, I want to give it to him, and then get out of there. So you want to have a functional stance, an active stance, meaning your whole brain is connected to your upper body and lower body while you are clinching. At no time do you want to just sit here and be passive like in boxing. You want to have it loaded in here like this. Okay? I mean, you could fake like you're going to go for a trip in here like this, or just to kind of get your hand in a better position to get out of here, and deliver a technique. Okay? So that's basically kind of, once you're in that shield clinch, kind of how you want to, operate from there. So go ahead and kind of practice that, working that with your partner. You want to be able to do it from both, do it from both sides in here. This side, this side in here, over here, right? Say here, over this direction in here, right? All those positions you want to be able to work from, and practicing all those different kind of variations of techniques. Okay, this concludes this tutorial on MMA clinch defenses in here, and how to kind of have maybe a better overview on how to avoid takedowns and clinches. Even though this is not a full action tutorial in here, but it's kind of more of just a kind of a overview of what I feel is very, very helpful. Now again, I said keep in mind about the techniques. I'm going to kind of go over some of the techniques to practice that you can practice the actual force delivery, because it's very important that the techniques themselves, the striking techniques themselves, they must be effective. You need to have both the right speed and the right power and the right leverage to get the effect that you want. And oftentimes, a lot of grappling in MMA gets instigated and is successful because the fighters don't have very good striking, ground when it comes to grappling. That's very overlooked. So some of the techniques that you can work on in the clinch, you're not going to be able to do this from like your underhook position. You can do it from obviously the shield clinch is what I'd like you to do, but you can practice it, from the overhook position in here, and a little bit of that Thai Plum clinch. But let's just go ahead and kind of go through them here. So if I'm in the shield clinch and you're like so, arm forward here, whatever preference you want to put in here. So most guys are this way in here like this. You got the shield in here, the ram shield in here like this, right? Drive a hard ram shield into the guy, boom, like this, right? Neck hook, drop your weight, right? Clamp the arm, step offline, okay? From here, right, from the clamp, you have a good right angle cross in here like this. So remember, you don't have your head buried in here because you won't be able to get your hand past your face. Is to get your head slightly back in here and practice on the bag, hitting in close to the bag like this, right? So if I'm offline, I got them clinched, I can step off into them, boom, in here like this. A right angle cross like this. Now make sure that it punches up like this. You're not just swatting here. Notice this elbow's down. There's no leverage in here. Get this elbow up, bang. Okay, you can also throw a hook, wham, from here like so. Okay, boom. Now again, you're gonna have to practice articulating your body to really lay into the bag, right? You cannot just arm punch. Okay, staying mobile, weight moving around. Okay, I'm in the grappling for 10, 30 seconds. Okay, I'm looking for the hip, wham, in here like so. Looking for the hip, boom, okay? You can throw an elbow, horizontal elbow. That's the same mechanics as the cross, pretty much, and the hook coming in this direction in here. Okay, clinch here, bam. Okay, the other thing is when you clamp like this, right? So cross, hook, elbow, clamp again. Just practice holding them like this. Make believe you're holding something. Shovel uppercut. Hook to the body in here. Coming up, make sure you're driving your hip. Boom. Clamp. Wham. Like so. Getting this torque, and so that leverage is coming in that diagonal direction like this. So hook, uppercut in here. Sometimes you can throw a hammer fist into the ribs a little bit. Not always the most effective, but is an option. There's a practice in here, right? Get very creative, or articulate that shoulder. Boom. Okay. So same thing from this direction, right? Cross, elbow, hook, clamp, uppercut into the throat or the stomach, sternum, throat, hook to the body in here, hammer fist, like so. Okay. On the shield side in here, you can practice the same, very similar to some degree. So the arms on center line, that could be driving multiple shields into the guy's face, boom, boom, neck hook, hit, pull this out real quick, shovel punch to the throat. Coming down here, you are going to lose the shield a little bit, so that's why I kind of would prefer to work more on the clamping hand, get that side down in here. And obviously you have your lower extremity strikes. Clinch, okay, knee, okay, knee, here's your switching knee for your Muay Thai practitioners. You can throw a hard round kick in there sometimes, like wham, if you can pull them into your weight a little bit. But those are some of the variations, that you can do in here. So those are just some of the striking techniques. And obviously you have all the energy, the tactile energy, the sensitivity that goes with all this. That's hard to show on video. I did a little bit of it, but they're not like moves where I'm going, doing, okay, now we'll go to this move, It's all by feeling, okay? So that's it for today's tutorial. Again, bear with me, that was long, but again, it's a very complex subject. But stay tuned and look for more videos on strategies, tactics, and techniques, tips for MMA. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, comment below. Go to my YouTube channel, Rich Alden Martial Arts. There's a whole playlist of all kinds of other strategies and stuff that I've kind of created to help improve the sport of MMA. Take care.